Start early.
All right, yeah.
And we're live, baby. Oh, those are cold headphones.
Yeah.
This mic cover can do a bit with it.
Oh yeah. I mean, the whole studio is pretty dusty.
Is it? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I'll get on that.
Get on it, Lucas. I want to see you in a little French maid outfit.
With a little duster.
Yeah, a little duster.
Get out on it. What's that song?
All right. Shall we start?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
You've listened to the podcast before, actually, haven't you?
Yes.
So you
I
know
didn't listen to Adam's episode.
Oh my God, that's the best one.
No, I think he's some really dark secret to share. I wasn't in the mental state.
That's
to
why it's
listen
so
to
good.
it.
That's so good. Oh man, just watch the clip I posted. That's my
That's
favorite.
exactly why I didn't listen to that.
I know. All right, so we'll start as we always do. It's been a hot minute, but here we go. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Philipp and Phriends, a podcast. My name is Philipp Kostelecky, and this is a podcast where I interview friends of mine, and I interview them about the friends of their lives and how they got to where they are today. It's a fun little podcast. We've been off the airs for quite a long while because I didn't have any money to pay for the studio, but Daddy just got his fringe payout, so woohoo, baby, come on. So we can probably do about 10 more episodes of this before we run out of money again. I know. But joining me today, as always, is our lovely producer, Lucas Jeffcote.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Good
Lucas.
to be back.
Yeah, how have you been?
What's with the delay?
What's with the delay? What do you-
Yeah.
in his response?
He wasn't paying attention to
No, I
his
was,
job.
I was,
For a
thinking-
second.
I was finding what
Unprofessional.
camera I was on.
Yeah.
All right,
He's-
yeah.
He's so focused on the video. You know, the younger generation.
Yeah.
Lucas, how have you been? How's the time off been?
I've been good, but it's good to be back.
Good. I'm
It's good to be
glad.
back in the stew.
Yeah. So normally when people listen to the podcast, they know that we do a little chat beforehand, but it's so cold that I didn't want to keep our lovely guest outside in the cold while we had a little chat. So we're going to do that at the end, but edit it so it's at the beginning. Also, it is so cold in the studio right now, we can see everyone's breath, which is exciting. But joining me today is the very funny, very, very fantastic comedian, Kuan-wen.
Hi. What? What do you expect
Why
me
did you
to
go
do?
so serious?
I'm not serious. It is cold.
It is cold.
I'm
yeah.
just guarding my nipples from protruding
Yeah.
out, like through the textile of my.
You have a
jumper.
thick sweater.
Jumper. 2 syllables. Jumper. It's more
Sweater.
economic. Or you say in a Cockney like sweater.
Sweater. You got fucking nipples going through your fucking sweater.
Okay, you don't want me to be that serious. You can do it again. So.
No.
Yeah,
Do whatever you want.
reenact.
whatever pace you want to go at. That's fine for me. So, Kwan, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
I know that you actually, like we discussed at the beginning, you actually listened to the episodes.
You put a lot of emphasis on the actually. Does that imply that your previous guests never listened to you?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. I've had guests who don't even listen to their own episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I couldn't do because I think I'm too narcissistic. I'd love to. I listen back to all of them multiple times.
You have to.
Yeah.
To bump up the statistics,
Of course.
for one. And you want to know the sound quality of how.
Of course, yeah. I listen to them on my own phone, my mom's phone. I get my sister to listen to it, just play it in the background, on silent. But they don't know that. But yeah, it's great to have you on. First time on the podcast?
On your podcast
Yeah.
or on any podcast?
My podcast. Yeah.
Well, I think everyone only been here once so far, right? So yes, first time on your podcast. Sorry, I've been so inquisitive and cynical.
No worries.
Whatever you're throwing my way.
No. So Kwan and I know each other.
Kuan-wen.
Kuan-wen.
Yes.
So do you ever go with the last name as well? Kuan-wen Young. Is it? How do you pronounce your last name? I'm sorry. I went into that really confidently.
Am I even a guest on this podcast? My name was not even pronounced correct. No, I'm Kuan-wen Huang. Is
Huang.
Yeah.
Kuan-wen Huang. Kuan-wen Huang. That's a tongue twister.
It is. I hate it because basically you have to do the twang, the nasal twang 3 times. Did you notice?
Yeah.
Wang, wang, wang. It's not every Chinese character have that sound, but my parents, for whatever reason, just think, oh, let's just make it like even more ridiculous. And it doesn't sound as bad in Mandarin, but in English, with American accent, is the worst.
Thanks.
Yeah, really. So say British people, they say quang, quang, wang,
Quang, wang.
wang, but Americans
like a
say
duck.
quang, wang, wang. They just with a Yankee twang. It's absolutely, yeah.
Well, I don't know how to respond to that. But yeah, good. So you have a lot of Chinese characters. Do you consider yourself a bit of a Chinese character?
I am not a Chinese
I know,
character.
of course not.
It's
This is where we're
deliberate. Ooh,
Oh, I know,
cheeky
China.
little bastard. No, I'm Taiwanese, but Yeah, Chinese in a cultural sense. Some hardcore Taiwanese reject anything that have to do with China. They even propose abolishing the Chinese character. You know the writing.
Really?
Yeah, they want to write our language, Taiwanese, in Roman alphabet, which I think is going to be the worst idea. So I would say culturally, yes, my interest came from China, but I will always say I'm Taiwanese.
Lovely. We're in. So I actually just want to give a little bit of foundation how I know each other. Obviously through just doing comedy, but also this summer we both took part in the.
Last summer.
Oh, of course, last summer.
I can
we took.
still recall.
Last summer, we took part in the AAA stand-up comedy showcase.
I've been corrected by other people who say, don't say AAA.
It's AAA.
Sound stuff. It's AAA.
AAA stand-up comedy showcase where I was hosting and Kuan was headlining, and just to tell you the nature of our relationship, and we spent a lot of time there together. We also took care of a baby while we were there.
I think took care was a bit of an overstatement.
Yeah.
We dip in. We offer a little bit of help
Yeah.
to our amazing partner Vivian, who had a tremendous courage to do any preferential with a little baby, a cute little baby.
Yeah. So we were Auntie Kuan and Uncle Phil, and
Yes.
I think we fit those roles perfectly. I think sometimes when we had the baby, we looked like the Hangover movie.
Yeah, although not really though, but I also make sure that I think I'm going to remain childless for the rest of my life.
Really?
Yeah, really. It's like,
Really, Lola was that? I probably shouldn't say her name. The baby was that bad for you?
she isn't. She's angelic, but it's just that the unpredictable nature of a whim and just baby just like the minute before they're just laughing and giggling for whatever reason they just start with I don't know, like a Shakespeare tragic. Man, you're just like, why? But why? I'm just too wary of things I cannot explain. It's just.
Well, I also remember because obviously when you have a little baby around, everyone wants to take photos with the baby, and I remember that you didn't want to send them to your mother because of the.
Yeah, it would trigger her No, she trigger her longing for yet another grandchild.
So she has grandchildren now.
She had 3, but she's a greedy woman. If she can have it her way, she'll probably like another new grandchild added to her mix until the day she dies.
Really?
Yeah.
What was that?
Sorry, I was
Some sort of dinosaur that's coming.
yeah. That's our next guest, actually. So, Robersaurus.
Okay, who are you fat shaming for our next guest?
What?
Because the step sounds really heavy.
Oh, no, I was just pretending it was an actual dinosaur.
Right, okay.
You went like very literal, and I went completely surreal as if we were going to interview an actual dinosaur.
I'm big on similes. Okay.
Yeah. No. We don't have any. Please, we don't let people that big in the show. No, I'm joking. We have a weight class for this podcast. I'm not being serious at all. So yes, wonderful. So you've listened to podcasts, so you know it's a bit about the friends of your life.
Yes.
We're going to change it up a little bit because I know a bit more about you. We might hyper focus on a certain period that I know about you.
Okay.
We'll get through that in the time being. So let's just start with you. A little introduction for people who don't know you, which is most people. You're from Taiwan, Taipei,
Yes.
Taipei City,
Yes.
born, raised. What's the situation?
So I was born and raised in Taiwan, and I left Taiwan after uni and the military services.
Okay.
But it was part of the plan because my mom is pretty insufferable. So since I graduated from high school, I've been plotting how I can live away from her, but achieving financial independence because I never had that. Because I don't know whether, I guess in America, people start doing odd jobs very early on and just getting a bit of pocket money. And in Asia, you have a lot of financial support from the parents, but also total control from them.
Yeah.
So I just thought, I can't live with my mom in the future. I can't see that. But I just can't see myself being financially independent.
Yeah.
So I've been drawing out my step plan, how I can make it happen. So I basically have to do a trial period where financially being sponsored by my parents or being able to live away from them abroad in ideal cases. So I applied to become an exchange student. But I was too late, being a little bit disorganized, didn't manage to submit any application to American universities. So I ended up being an exchange student in Paris. So this is a long story. My French was actually crap, but somehow everyone else was more crap. So I was sent to Paris. I met one of my ex-boyfriend, but I fucking hate the French people. So I told him that I want to come back to Europe to reunite with you, but I don't want to spend any other second in this country. So we agreed we would live in London together.
Yeah.
But I had to come back to Taiwan to finish my citizen's duty, the military service, and that's how I ended up here. So I left Taiwan at the age of 25.
Yeah.
And then been living in London since. Within 1 odd year I spent in Germany. So that's my life story. Yes.
Nice. So we always start at the beginning when it comes to friendships. So do you remember who your first friend was?
There wasn't a neighborhood kid. So my family, when I was really, really young, would live in some sort of illegal slum wooden buildings. So they were illegally built on the Taipei University site.
Okay.
Is it called National Taiwan or Taipei University? I can't even remember.
So your parents and you included
Yeah, and my grandma, my paternal grandma.
were all like, what is it? What is the word? What is it where when you live in a place that doesn't belong to you?
Well, the place belonged
Squatting. Were you squatting?
No, they weren't squatting. So
Okay.
the place was built illegally,
Yeah.
but the property belonged to my family at that time.
Interesting. How does that work?
So what happened is the Japanese colonized Taiwan until the end of Second World War.
Yeah.
And then a couple of years later, the sort of Chinese Nationalist Party came to Taiwan. And because lots of military personnel came without any dwellings, so there were cases of government-built housing, but also people just taking up lands.
Yeah.
And a lot of land were they were earmarked for future park development by the Japanese, for example.
Yeah.
But any empty land was just built on, like some random built on randomly. And I don't know why, but my family managed to get hold of one of this illegally built property
Yeah.
on the campus of the National Taiwan University.
Yeah.
So I lived there until the age of 7 or 8, and then it was demolished. But we just moved across the street. So I never thought moving is difficult for me. It's just carrying a teddy bear in the evening and another small suitcase the day after. But on that street,
Did you think that was how it was going to be when you moved to Europe? It's going to be a little teddy bear.
No, when I came to Europe, I just left my stuff in Taiwan. It wasn't a big deal. It's the first time I tried to move in London. There was a big, oh my God, it's not my, because I'm a hoarder.
Yeah.
And the amount of stuff, it's like one of my ex was helping me move at that time. It's like, how do you manage to accumulate so much shit when you live in a tiny little room? And because I had a space under the roof of a terrace house.
Yeah.
So I had a triangular space, and I basically fill out that book with everything. And you're like, why are you keeping all these newspapers? I say, well, this is when Prince William married Kate, so I can't just chuck it. And so why about this one? Oh, this is when the financial crisis happened. It was very important. So I'm a fucking big hoarder. But anyway, about my first friend, I think it's one of the neighborhood kids.
Yeah.
And they live on the block. And he's actually a friend of my brother. But slightly younger than my brother, but older than me. So I'm the really annoying younger brother that follow them. And I would, when they ride the big bicycle, I ride the one with the 4 wheels. Does that make
the
sense?
extra
How do you
support.
call that in
The
English?
trainer wheels?
The trainer
Is that what you call them?
I call them stabilizers.
Stabilizers.
So yeah, I think that's a memory of one of my earliest friends. But my paternal grandma was very protective of me. And because my brother was fed up with me just hanging around with them all the time, so they constantly tried to get rid of me.
Yeah.
And my grandma would be really upset, and she would come out and just like telling the other kid off. So it wasn't really a friend, but yeah.
Something.
I can't even remember his name right now.
So you were, I mean, because when I was younger, I didn't have, my sister was very popular. And she had a lot of friends, and so she'd have a lot of friends over, so I would like hang out with them. But
But
you know,
boys or girls?
boys or girls, either or.
So you're not the lusty, dirty little brother just drooling over your sister's friend,
No,
like
I
in
was not.
American Pie situation.
No, I was not.
Popular. I want to be popular.
No, I wasn't drooling over my sister's friends.
Except, okay.
No. Some drooling, and they were probably drooling over me.
In a Jennifer Coolidge situation.
Yeah, they were looking at me and my 12-year-old prepubescent body. They
Can't
were like,
wait for Phil's memoir.
yeah. The life of a younger brother. No, not that at all. But I would hang out with them and stuff. And she was really accepting of it. Actually, she was quite cool about it. Some siblings can be really nice about it. I think there's always that stereotype you see in the American movies where like the older sibling
Is
goes
this
like,
a sister that Ali was friends? Just to prove I did listen to the podcast. All right. Purpose achieved. Yeah, peace.
So anybody who's not listened, everyone who's not listened to that episode. So apparently my sister made out with one of a previous guest's friends, which Ali Woods, by the way, I still hold brought out with no context. There was nothing
He's
about.
a comic.
I know he's a comic.
Disrupting your routine is what comedians
All right,
do.
American podcast. He's a comic. I mean, what do you expect a comic to do?
I don't know where that tone mannerism came from. I don't even know where I picked it up.
I don't know, man.
Who do you think I was trying to copy?
I don't know. Just any American comic. Hey, you're a comic. If you're a comic, you gotta make funny of that. Yeah, no, that's the same whore of a sister. No, not at all. I think she also. What was funny about that bit? So obviously, Ali mentions that one of his friends made out with my sister, but he said got with. And then I said to my sister, like, is it okay if I post this, right? This clip. And she said, yeah, but could you just make it clear that I made out with him? I didn't get with him. I hate that phrase. And I was like, all right, fine.
What's the difference?
Because for get with, I think, suggests sex or like maybe something more sexual. I don't know. Anyway, she asked for this very specific clarification.
So, okay, making out in English doesn't involve fingering, for example. Is that what's implied? Can someone explain to me? I thought making out has the full penetration. It's the whole package.
No. Making out is just kissing.
Yeah.
Snogging.
Snogging, yeah. Let's go with that for the British people. Listen. So then she said, she was like, oh, she was kind of a bit annoyed about me posting this clip, but then I was also okay with it in a weird way. And then at the end, she was like, oh yeah, do you mind just tagging me in it so I can get more followers? I was like,
okay, so to be fair, she wasn't really a hoe.
No.
But she's a fame whore.
She's a fame whore.
Right.
Yeah. That's my sister. She wants followers. She wants followers from, I don't know why, because let's be honest, the amount of people that would follow somebody based off of a podcast clip of somebody making out with their friend.
They're going to unfollow you in a month anyway. Why bother?
Yeah. But even then,
why do people unfollow on Instagram? It's such a philosophical question. Fuck them.
Do you ever unfollow people?
Not really, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't follow very diligently. I go back to the profile at least 3-4 times before I decide to follow someone.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Except for networking purposes, like comedians.
Do you know what I do? I don't know if this is a bad thing, but it's.
Are we even doing about our friends? This podcast
we're
so off track today.
This diverges. We diverge, then we go back to it. Dude, relax, Quan. It's all good. Sorry, Kuan-wen Huang. What I do is I actually, most of the people on my Instagram that I follow, I mute.
Oh, you've told me
I
that.
mute the stories, I mute the posts, because I actually can't handle like the Instagram part of it. So what I do is I just do it for social purposes. I don't know if this is bad, but I also don't think it is bad. Like,
No, it isn't bad.
But then what I do is like it's kind of like I get a bit of jealousy, a bit of anxiety about what other people are doing in the world of comedy. And so rather than being bombarded with it all the time, what I do instead is I like go on their profile, like I go on 8 people's profiles in one sitting. So I get all my anxiety and my like nervousness and jealousy in one big hit, rather than just like opening up the app and then being hit with it.
No, I don't judge you because I didn't have Instagram until 2020. I was told off for not having Instagram. But I knew for a fact that when I started having Instagram, I instantly feel I was more depressed.
Yeah.
And so
like
I
that.
had to try to control how I use it.
So that's the thing is, I know that I should be on it because it's good to post clips and stuff, but that I just can't handle that. I just can't handle it.
Yeah.
Are we muted? I mean, Kuan-wen muted.
I don't.
No?
You're not muted and you're not muted. No.
We're not successful enough for you to be jealous.
No. No. The real reason is it depends on how I feel about the person as well. If I'm close personal friends with them, I don't mute them.
I think I only mute people who
Nice
give
save, huh?
very
Good answer.
I only mute people that give very biased information.
Yeah.
And they will create little when they overdo the big celebration thing, that for example say that, oh, I walk past this venue every single day as a child. Never have in my life imagined. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
And then it's a photo of them as a baby as well.
And
as if we couldn't comprehend that you could have been a baby one day.
Or
you know what I mean? They're always people post a photo of them achieving something and them as a baby.
A deliberate humble bragging and just like post a picture a giant theater complete empty. Oops, happened to drop by and did a gig last night here. So I think these are two extreme annoying posts. And if you do those posts, but you do a balance posting pattern, then I will still follow you. So for example, if you post about a great gig, but then when you're dropped by your agent, you also post about it, then I will follow you, right? Good. But if everything I think is always posted on your fucking Instagram, it's like, that is not true, bye, and then just mute the person.
Yeah. No. I don't.
Can we cut this bit?
I'm probably gonna cut a decent amount of it. This will be for the Patreons. the all zero of them. But yeah, okay. Let's backtrack now to the friends. And
The
stuff.
friends.
So you don't remember this friend of your brother's?
I think I like the idea of what I call the friend here because my childhood was very, very different back then. Taipei.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you just said.
What I'm saying is, I say to you, I forgot what this person's name was.
Yeah.
So it's weird for me to call him a friend.
Yeah.
But the reason I mentioned this is I had a very, even a bit like a movie.
Yeah.
What's that? Is it called Miyazaki?
Hayao Miyazaki?
Yeah. So
Which film?
Taipei was like
Which Studio Ghibli film?
yeah, Ghibli. Ooh, I don't know the term in English. There was one about a brother and sister after the war, and they see all those bugs with flashing.
Oh, that's Princess Mononoke.
is it?
Yeah, that's the movie.
Yeah.
Is it with the wolf?
Hmm?
Is it with the wolf?
Not with the wolf. It's about.
Oh, is this from The Heart of the Fireflies and stuff like that?
Yeah. So the constantly they were
Yo,
hungry.
Jamie?
They were hungry, and the brother would get the little sweet for his.
Oh, it's
sister.
the. Can you actually Google? I think it's called. Just write Ghibli Fireflies and it should pop up.
萤火虫之墓. So Firefly.
Oh,
that's the one.
yes, that's
one.
the one. Yeah.
As if you knew that,
Brave
right?
of the Fire.
Brave with the Fireflies. That's it.
It's the cinematography or what they portray on the film is pretty much like my childhood city. Taipei was like a big village back then with
Yeah.
corners of flat wooden houses, and we would just cycle around. Me on my stabilizer bicycle, but stabilizer they on their bigger kids' bike.
Yeah.
But we would just cycle on the pavement. It's absolutely fine, and we just go around trying to stick and catch cicadas.
Yeah.
So you get this long stick and you had glue and you just torture and kill. It sounds very cruel, but
It
was
does, but also sounds very innocent and cute.
but the whole child was very sort of idealistic, and we will play dodgeball in the alley. There weren't so many cars. Like Taipei, it's impossible to do that right now. My nephew have a very different kind of childhood.
Yeah.
But that's what I remember, and remember the really happy time hanging out with kids just around the block and in that illegal wooden houses, and eventually got demolished.
So then, what would be the first? Who would be the first friend you remember actually from like school or something like that? Maybe you could even remember the name of, even if it wasn't your first one. Maybe it's just the one you think of.
Well, there was one. When I got into primary school, there were three of us, and one is called Simon.
Yeah.
So his actual name is Siwen, Zheng Siwen, Simon Chen.
Yeah.
The other one, I think he's called himself Ricky or something. We basically went to private English to the after class together. We always hang out together, but I didn't realize that this Ricky was a bit of bully to me. And Simon, being the third person, always sort of like just kept quiet. But eventually, when I became a little snitch and I told my parents what Ricky did to me, my parents say, do not hang out with him at all, and just cut off any interaction between both families.
Yeah.
And Simon became my long-term good friend. And the weird thing is Simon eventually was made to move back to the south and the second bigger city because his family is from like a well-off family in the south. And eventually he moved to United States.
Yeah.
I think
Are you still in
about-
contact with him?
well, 8 to 10 years ago, he tried to write back, say, hey, just remember we were really good friends when we were kids. How are you doing? I'm about to get married. And I didn't explicitly tell him I'm gay, but I kind of mentioned it. And this is a pattern with a lot of friends I have from childhood. There was this rupture. I just couldn't maintain the same kind of friendship with them after I told them about being gay.
Yeah.
And they were not exactly homophobic, but we have such a different lives. And that's why I'm glad in a way I came out. I think I came out in the second year in the university. So people who knew that I was gay up front or at the start, there was no change in the relationship. I had very, very few male friends after I came out. I mean, for Taiwan today, people are absolutely fine. But for guys from my generation, it's just weird to be a very good friend of a gay man when you're straight. So maybe that makes sense to you.
Yeah. I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds.
Yeah, like they will even get a bit wary when I try to get close. I didn't even want to hug them, but if they were thinking I was about to hug them, it's like, oh, don't get that close to me. Yeah.
Yeah. How did you feel about that?
I feel like sometimes you wonder whether I've been adopted by alien. So my life, I'm living in the same body, but I'm effectively a different person. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think about my life in the past and right now. It is so different. It feels like a sitcom when they change the entire writer's room. So all the actors are the same, but just
Yeah.
like, but this is not the same show anymore. And yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty tough.
Yeah, when I had surgery on my podcast, and so
Sergi Poyo.
surgery not is it called pollo?
I don't know. It's Polo.
I thought it
Anyway.
was Polo.
It's
Oh,
not 2L, right?
No, it's one L.
Sergi Polo. Sergi Chicken.
Thank God I'm not the xenophobic one. Anyway, so
Sergi Polo, another comedian.
so he was
Spanish.
he was talking about how he didn't mind the derogatory term when it's just really good friends. And
What?
So he said that he didn't mind people using terms that would be considered racist or homophobic between his friends, because for Spanish people, especially in his friends group, when they know there's no malicious intention, they don't mind it. So he then said that some of my best friends in Barcelona are gay, and I froze for a second. I just thought, but how? Because that never happened to me.
Yeah.
My closest friends are always either girls or other Taiwanese gay men. I do have stray friends, but most of them I accumulated them because I left Taiwan at the age of 25.
Yeah.
So most of my friends now are people I met in London. So when I was living in Taiwan, all the friends I had up to the point I came out, they're not like real close friends anymore. I mean, we still have minimum amount of social contact. I may see those friends at a uni reunion, or if I go back to meet other friends, but no, not really. It just completely changed the nature of friendship. That's why I would advise people come out as early as you can, because
find out who maybe your real friends are. Do you think that do you think that you would have had been able, like, because you said sorry, let me just rephrase this. You said that for people who knew you were gay from the start, there was no change in a relationship.
yeah.
Does that mean that potentially the friends you had when you were younger, if there was some way that you could have come out earlier, that there wouldn't have been a change in the relationship, or it would have just been, there would have been no relationship from the beginning?
I couldn't control the variables. I don't know the answer to that question. It could have been just that time, the society in general was a lot more conservative, and people couldn't fathom having a gay friend. Because, like, the gay character's not even frequently portrayed on TV. The people talk about Taiwan being very gay friendly, is one of the best when it comes to sort of equal rights for LGBT. That's very, very recent.
Yeah.
I never thought in my life I would witness the same-sex marriage bill being going through in Taiwan.
Yeah.
I thought it would take for a very, very long time, and that's just how quickly everything changed. So when I was in university, people definitely don't mention that. People have in general, they find it very difficult to come out as gay in general.
It's interesting, sort of how, like, politically it may be one way, but socially it's still another way.
No. It's just a rupture. I would say from the mid 2000s or close to the 2010s, like the whole thing changed. But in the late 90s to early 2000s, it's just weird. You don't really see like a friends group with lots of straight guys and gay guys at the same time. It wasn't possible back then.
Well, so do you then feel like, I don't know, because I've kind of I've not lost contact, but there's certain people who I was friends with when I was younger, like in elementary school and high school, and just by the nature of living abroad, I don't see them that much. But they're kind of like a second family in the sense that you've known them for such a long time, and sometimes they can see things in you that you've lost about yourself. Do you feel that you miss that a little? You know, that's something that's missing from your life at times? Do you sometimes wish that you had these sort of really long-standing friendships with these people so that you could sort of, because at the end of the day, you all were growing up in the same environment, a similar environment, that you have that, you know, the connection. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I know, yeah. I don't know, because one thing I've learned in the last couple of years, especially after the pandemic, is like I'm trying to learn not to be a hoarder. I'm unlearning hoarding.
Why do you think you hoard?
I think insecurity and emotional attachment. I think it may be down to me feeling lonely in general. So, and this is an irony because I don't like to share my space. I don't like to live with my family. I like to live on my own, but at the same time, it is lonely. So you try to find something to make your situation slightly better. And I think holding on to things is one to them. But I'm trying to learn to let go. So there were friends, people I knew really, really well, and we were so close for a period of my life. And because I've my life circumstances have changed so much. So because I've been keeping a diary since I was 18.
Really?
Yeah, sometimes when I read back what I wrote, I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, what is lunatic? It was it was a very different time in my life.
Did you like do a diary in the sense of a report of the day, or did you do it like your thoughts? Or
You know, it really changes depending on the
Yeah.
period as well. Like some period, I was just really petty, especially when I was like 3-4 years in my professional as an accountant.
Yeah.
When I worked as an accountant, some high school diary were absolutely diabolic. It's like, these are the 10 best looking guys at school. I hope I can hold hands with at least 2 of them before I left. You know, things like that. So because I recognize how much my life have changed, and I realized that some friends are more circumstantial.
Yeah,
Does that make sense to you?
100%.
So you became really good friend with this person because you may have been in a very isolated environment.
Yeah.
And during that time, you guys really needed that support for each other. But once the circumstances change, so for example, I don't know if you've done this, maybe not, given that you're Slovenian. But I don't know, if like English speaking people maybe how to relate. I used to go do like language courses abroad for a month.
Yeah.
I've done English and French and German. So you will meet people in your language class.
Yeah.
And you spend so much time just in that month together, maybe in a foreign city.
Yeah.
And you don't know a lot of people, so you hang out all the time. So you would ignore deliberately any mismatch of your personality.
I know this feeling.
And you, at the end of the club, you're like, oh, it's so sad. We're going to keep in touch. So you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
that little card, you have a little picture. I used to have the picture actually developed, and then they will upload it to Facebook. Or sometimes I even remember you sending CD, like put a picture files on a CD-ROM and send to people. After a year or two, you try to write Christmas cards to each other. But then you're like, on the third year, it's like, do we really talk to each other at all?
Yeah.
And one thing bad about Facebook is that you're still having them as a Facebook
Yeah,
friend.
yeah.
You don't know what to do.
And they
with it.
still show up on your feed. You gotta mute them. You know?
Yeah, like occasionally Facebook say that today is Tadada's birthday. And I was like, who the fuck is this person?
Oh, yeah.
So you have the language class friends, wedding friends, if you go, especially when you go for a wedding that lasts a couple of days abroad.
Yeah.
Friends when I was in France, I studied there for 1 year. So I had some good friends. I'm still in touch with 2 of them,
Yeah.
but one less frequently. And sometimes I thought, oh, I used to be so close to this person. It's such a shame. It's really weird. I don't talk to them anymore. But when I try to initiate a conversation, either sending a Christmas card, try to chat with them on Facebook, the conversation just doesn't work.
Because there's nothing holding it together.
No, the circumstances change.
Yeah.
And I thought it's not about the quantity, it's about the quality. Or it's about the quantity when it's not 0. Just make sure you have some friends. Like you don't want to live a life with a quantity of 0. That's really, really sad, right? Because I will die and be buried under my teddy bear. So I have some friends, and some past friends, the relationship don't work anymore, and you just have to let go.
Yeah. So that's all very true. I just want to be. What are we looking at time-wise? Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure we have enough time for this because this is something I'm very interested in. You were conscribed into the army.
Yes.
Is that a mandatory
Yes.
for all men and women? It's
For all men.
All men.
Feminism. Hey.
I recently saw that the women are not allowed to go as well for the conscription. Is that correct?
I don't remember.
Well, it's not conscription in that
I
case.
think they tried some year to recruit some ladies.
Ladies,
And they even made a movie about it. But
ladies, come and join the army.
but it's never the same. So first,
So
so you can be a professional soldier.
yeah,
The female population, but when it comes to the mandatory military services,
Mandatory military.
it only applied to men.
So given what you said about coming out and also having friends, what was the military service like just in general for you?
Oh, first, it didn't feel like porn, right?
It didn't feel like porn.
It doesn't. No, like
What?
people have this misconception. Oh, the gay guy's gonna love it so much
Oh,
when
no,
they
I
got
didn't
into
think
the
so.
army. It wasn't like that. It's horrible. First, sometimes you only have less a minute or 2 to have a shower, and sometimes you're forced to have a cold shower. You just want to get it done over with.
So-
you have no time to look around.
So Lucas, have you ever seen Kwan's act? Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen.
Have you seen his bit about joining? So basically, his whole bit when he, I'm not going to try to, I'm just going to say the gist of it. Essentially, is about how he is like an upper East Side Manhattan resident who's now forced into this dreary like conscription life, and talks about how all of his like creams and makeups were taken away from him when he joined the army. It's really really funny like routine. I might actually, if you don't mind, I might actually include it in the podcast just as edited in. But if not, then go see Quan live because it's very very funny. Because getting to know you better. See, imagining you in the army is a really funny thought.
But you see, I wasn't even the campus. So all the misery I've told you, someone had it worse. But someone was what you call today, this term has been made popular by RuPaul Drag Race, right?
Yeah.
Someone was a fierce little fairy. Like I didn't have the audacity to be fully out. And
Yeah.
people kind of suspected it. But then I never said it like explicitly. Someone just like, I'm this little princess. I'm trying to do as much my way. And they're so determined to stay in character. Sometimes the general just say, you know what, fuck you. I don't know what to do with you. Do whatever you want. Just don't disrupt my squad's routine. And that's it.
Oh, so by fully embracing that side of whatever their personality, then they actually ended up sort of having a bit more freedom through annoyance.
But it's still, I can see it's still, I think it was a big mental health issue for them.
Of
And
course.
that's their way of coping. And sometimes I don't know whether by nature human beings are really ugly animals or really kind people. I see both.
Yeah.
Like initially you see people start to bully some, but somehow some are permanently bullied, but some just manage to survive.
Yeah.
Have you ever watched Glee? Did I reveal my age?
No, it's just funny you gave a whole speech about how people survive and people die, and then you went, have you ever watched Glee?
Yeah. It's the character Kurt in Glee.
I haven't watched it.
Right. I hope it makes sense to someone out there. Probably middle millennial, not young millennials.
Yeah.
But this gay character, he was constantly bullied at
Oh,
high
I see.
school. But he ended up joining the Glee club and
Fun
sort of-
place.
Yeah.
So what was the did you make any friends in the army?
I did, but it only lasted a while as well.
So that was very circumstantial.
Yeah, there was only one. I think we managed to maintain our relationship as a friends because he came to the UK. He did a master's degree at Cambridge University or Oxford. I can't remember. They're all the same. Anyway, so he then came down to visit me once in London. I think he's actually coming to London this year, so we may meet up again. But also, he's a language geek, so we have like additional shared interests occasionally. I used to write a blog. And now he also listened to my podcast and gave me Facebook feedback. So it's a Facebook friend with a certain level of interactions.
That's good.
Yeah, just one.
Just one.
Just one.
Just one. How many people were there?
Because I was initially sent to the New Recruits Training Center. And later, I was a military officer at a different camp.
You were a
So-
military officer.
Yeah. But then...
What does that entail?
What does it entail? So it's very hard to explain. The Taiwanese military system was copied from the Soviet system.
Yeah.
So in the American system, you have a sergeant, like someone, it's one leader for one unit, right? So the Soviet system, no one is trusted. So you have the sergeant, but you have a deputy.
Yeah.
The term is called commissar.
Yeah.
And I was a commissar officer. And commissar is in charge of finance, intelligence, security. I was a little...
You were a personal assistant.
No, I wasn't a personal assistant because I was spying on the sergeant in case there was like a corruption of power or something like that. So I was...
Did you ever find anybody out?
No, I just turn a blind eye to everything.
Really?
Just let me go. I don't want to stay in this thing. You know what? Do whatever you want. I was...
You're the worst commissar ever.
you know, one of my general was doing like an EMBA. He forced me to do his homework for him. In exchange, I got more sort of like half-day holiday, just go around outside the camp and having some snacks.
Having some snacks.
You say that you are sent out to purchase something, and just like, this is in exchange of you writing my homework, my assignment.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so that's why I really didn't like that. I think it brings out the worst in humanity.
Any sort of position of power, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I would caution that people like to say we need to bring the national service back, which makes sense. I do think sometimes people can do with a little bit more discipline in their life. But there's something very, very dark and wrong about the whole military culture. And that's the reason why some country, when they have a pattern of military coup, it happens all the time because those soldiers never think that they are below anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and once that culture that they report to the government, once that is gone, and the army believe that they control the country, then you're doomed for a very long time.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great point.
Yeah,
One could argue, though, that you could never have made that point if you weren't conscribed into the army.
I don't know.
So you kind of need to have a few people go into the system to get it. You know what I mean? To see from the other side. Do you think? Obviously, sometimes people ask questions like, "Oh, would you prefer to have done this or not done this for things that have happened already?"
Yeah.
Would you have preferred not to have had to do the mandatory service?
In hindsight, if I had a choice, I would have chosen having that experience but for a shorter period.
Okay.
So now they've reverted back to 12 months.
How long were you doing it for?
I did it for 17 months. So in total, it was 18 months.
Yeah.
But then at high school, we have military training as part of our curriculum.
Oh, wow.
So like after chemistry and mathematics, you have an hour called military training. That involves either going to the sports field and trying to do some martial art involving, saying that, for example, if your rifle runs out of bullet, you need to learn how to combat with a wooden stick, which is a gun without a bullet. So we had to do those stupid things, or just listen to some stupid things about the. Do you know there's a ancient Chinese classic called the Sun Wu? It's like from thousands years ago.
Is this the Art of War?
Something like that? Yeah.
Sun Tzu, Art
You
of
have
War.
to read a chapter.
Is this like where he talks about like there are four elements: the earth,
Something.
the
No, not the four elements of earth, but it was talking about how army fight. But
Yeah. I
he
know
was
this book,
talking
and
about
it's-
when
and it's just like rules, like listed, like dun 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 dun.
yeah,
right? It's almost, it's
but
the Art
it
of
was
War.
written at a time when people were fighting on horses. For fuck's sake, there was no drones involved,
yeah.
and you have to read a chapter of that in ancient Chinese, which we need a modern translation. All this fun. But then I did that as our curriculum, so I had a credit for a month. So in total, I should have done 18 months, but I did 17 month. Up till last year, Adam only to do 4 months.
Yeah.
But our president just reverted back to 12 months, given
Okay.
the situation in East Asia now. So
Yeah.
I would have happy to. I did think that it made me grateful for a lot of things I wouldn't be grateful for.
Yeah.
For example, I don't complain about food because I've eaten the worst shit ever. Anything is tasty for me. I've realized I came from a very safe bubble, a very middle class life.
Yeah.
I came across people from all walks of life I wouldn't have never met if I had not been in army. I had a bit of more discipline. I remember what discipline was like, but it was too long. And when I came to Europe, I couldn't. I missed the chance of enjoying young person rail card. Like.
Oh, I see. Oh man, that's the real shame. You didn't get to get a discounted rail card.
No, only for a very short while.
Very
It
short
pissed
while.
me off. Yeah.
Well, you can't win everything.
No, but part of me also think that it would be funny to see the very entitled white millennials going to the army and getting.
Yeah, man. Dude, sign Lucas and I up. We're looking. we're looking to get into shape, actually.
I'm looking for work.
Yeah.
You asked me so if you thinking about friends today.
I know because I sort of.
You kind of imply that I have a person without friends. I'm not happy about that.
But I think the podcast balances in friends like this. But speaking of friends, we have some friends who listen to the podcast.
What a segue.
What a transition. We have some people who listen to the podcast, so and they wanna know they wanna have some advice. They wanna figure themselves out.
Okay.
So this is a section. Thank you very much. We're gonna move. You know this section where we answer the questions. We're gonna move on to the section of the show called "A Friend in Need." This is where you, the listener, can get involved. Any questions you have, you just submit them to our forum, which is always linked in the description of every episode. And you just submit your problems, big or small. They're completely anonymous. And yeah. You ready to answer some questions?
Let's
Help the
go.
people out, Kuan-wen. Is that me when I say it like
I
that?
just want to say to them, be
All right.
aware of what you wish for. All right, let's go.
So this first person shall not be named. What can we help you with? We asked them, and they said, bored with work but need to live.
Take some drugs.
All right.
It's
Next
not good.
question.
No,
How would you help somebody who's bored with work but needs to live?
take a sabbatical
Okay.
if possible.
If not,
If not, then have a sound financial plan and have some good time off between work. So
Yeah.
because what happened is I used to do like office job. I've been an accountant for a very long time, and before I fully committed to doing comedy, there was also 3 or 6 months I tried not to work and stay off any contract. Then you realize there's a benefit having a routine
Oh yeah.
where you don't actually know what you want to do. Give you that time off, and then you actually appreciate coming back to work.
I
It
feel
gives you a
for it.
little clarity.
So this is the first. So I had a job in December, which I hated.
yeah,
Which was, I mean, I had it from October to December, and it was so depressing.
yeah.
Now I got, like I said, I got my payout for the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and so I can live like a month or two off of that. And it's been really weird not having like obligations or not having like a routine, not having to get up for stuff. So it's like, it's been weird. That's one of the main reasons I actually started doing the podcast again, because it was just something. This is just something to fill the day, you know.
No. Also,
That's the only reason I'm here with you guys.
it absolutely helps to I forgot what I wanted to say. Like, for example, someone may have the hobby and they think they can live off the hobby.
Yeah.
But once they quit their job and pursue their hobby as a money-making machine, they realize how horrible it is, and it's better off to keep your hobby just as a hobby.
Yeah.
So it works for some people to keep the boring job, but committed to having a good quality of life by having a hobby. For example, going to open night and play music. I think in my first or second year as accountant, I was really bored with my work, but I took up language classes. And
I think it's just finding something to do. I think a lot more people don't realize. It's a weird thing. You kind of depend. I don't know how old this person is, but you kind of should, not every day, but you should be exhausting yourself sometimes with your busyness. Like if you have a day job that you sort of like, or you don't, if you're neutral towards it, then that's fine. Keep it. If you really don't like it, then look for something new.
I would just say don't always bitch about it, but never do anything. I think that's the worst.
So I think just find another activity to do. Like find something outside of it. Person who not be named. That's what I would suggest.
Mm-hmm.
So we got the next one. This is Joe from London, and they ask, "Can you help me with my obsession with Matty Healy from 1975 because he's a rat? But why am I obsessed with him? Do you know who this is?"
I do.
Okay, what does he look like?
What is
Matty Healy.
Can you pull him up
Yeah.
on the actual screen?
I mean, he's very talked about now at the moment.
Is he?
He's a
this-
contentious topic, to
Why?
say the least.
Is it like an Andrew Tate kind of?
No. He's he's just a silly little like a pop star guy.
Okay.
You know 1975?
I've heard of it.
They're a
I
band.
know the year.
Ayo.
Good year for wine. When were you born?
I'm not gonna tell you.
Wait, you're 40, right?
Hmm?
You're 40.
Cut it off. You're not allowed to. I was born in 1980.
1980. So you're just that. So can we see him again? Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, I got rid of him. But basically, been in trouble recently because he's been kissing some of his fans, consensually, like at gigs. Like he invites people up on stage to kiss them.
Wow.
Yeah. He's a very attractive.
Do you ever do that, Quan?
What?
Come on. Do you ever invite fans up to kiss them?
No, maybe
No.
I should.
Maybe. Maybe that's what this person could do at work when they're bored. Just kiss some of their
I
colleagues.
think that the person, is it Joe? Is it he or she? Or they? We
Just
don't know.
Joe.
Joe, don't fight this. I mean, actually get to the deepest committed fan club, and you either realize how disgusting these people are, you don't want to be like them, either you would join them, right? Just push it to the limit and see which side you're on.
It's the Sith. You got to find the Sith.
Yeah.
Join,
So, for
join.
example, I've been a long-term Mariah fan. I used to be embarrassed about it.
Mariah Carey.
Yeah, until I joined like a Mariah fan club, and those people, they have actual CD collection. Whenever Mariah releases a single, they will buy every single edition from any country they can find that's different, and they just do a get together, a show of their collection. I thought, okay, I'm not the worst. That's what I realized. There's absolutely no shame.
So
in
just
Mariah.
dig deep into it. Get consumed by it.
No, you get to see the extreme version,
Yeah.
and then you will see whether that really bothers you.
Yeah, it's like sort of getting into. It's like not knowing how you feel about somebody, so getting into a relationship with them and realizing that you don't want to
Because
be
that's
with them.
basically potentially you.
know what I'm saying?
5 years down the line, you think,
Yeah.
do you want to become that? If not, then you can probably like if you're not.
See the
energy-
worst version of yourself.
Exactly.
Nice. Good. Well, that's our advice for you, Joe. This last one, and I think as three guys, we'll definitely be able to help out. This is Amanda from Suffolk, and she asks, what can we help you with? And she said, period poops. So, gentlemen,
Period poops.
period poops.
Does that mean that when women have period, they poop at the same time? What does it mean, period poops?
I don't know. Dude. You know what? Next week we have Davina Bentley on, who's a female, and I think
feel
she
it's
might.
a bit unfair to the Davina to be greeted with this question. All right.
Well, I think. No offense, Quan. Do you have any fucking advice for period boobs?
What does that mean, period? But I generally don't understand.
Can you Google it?
Yeah.
We're like 3 dudes who are raising a baby girl. We're like raising a daughter.
Oh, it means you have
Is it constipation?
yeah, constipation, diarrhea.
Constipation or diarrhea?
Yeah.
Wow, it's really both ends of the.
Yeah, you're just.
Oh, it's
your
like being
colon is
bipolar
fucked.
in that department.
But it's your butthole.
You
have a
worse
bi-
poops.
You have a
just have-
bipolar butthole.
Yeah, you have. I think it's constipation.
Butt.
Is most common, but yeah, your
So it's constipation.
yeah your colon is just fucked. I think. It goes a little funky.
Right. It sounds boring, but I think if it's in that situation, it's a diet and exercise issue. Either you don't drink enough water, you don't eat enough, you don't eat enough certain things, but it's very boring, but it's one of those things.
What
Fibers.
is it about the period that causes them to get constipated?
You know what? I don't know. Maybe it would be something about hormones, but I'm not sure. There's an article if you want me to go into it.
Do you get a period?
No, sometimes I worry I poo too much. And I try to blame on genetics, but then when someday I'm forced to eat like small portion of stuff because I was running around, and I just don't poo as much the next day and realize, I just eat too much in general, so I poo all the time.
You poo all the time.
Like I know
So you fluctuate.
No, like in the morning, I have to do at least twice.
You poo twice.
In the morning.
You poo twice in the morning.
Yeah, because my first one is never like over.
I almost never have a full empty feeling of after a poo.
You know, like
I get it every
my
once in a
poo
while.
in the morning is
That's
like the
sad.
Tory
I feel bad for
party.
you.
Do you often, when you poo, do you often feel empty afterwards?
Best part, yeah.
I love when I
feeling
feel empty afterwards.
love
I actually
feeling
feel
empty.
lighter.
Yeah,
I imagine
as
like
well.
that's
It
what
take-
like Neil Armstrong felt like on the moon.
It takes my second one in the morning to feel empty.
I never feel empty.
Because I
Maybe you
need
need
to.
a second one. Then.
Yeah.
So I have to go immediately after I wake up, and that's the first one. But
You
then,
immediately after you wake up, you have to
it's
poo.
a routine. So wherever I go, I always poo in the morning. So if I know I'm traveling, I'll even bring my kind of toilet paper just in case I couldn't. I never want to get it stuck because I had piles in the past. I'd had a hemorrhoid operation.
Yeah, I have
before.
as well.
So
Oh my god.
Yay! It's like the Tories party tried to get rid of Boris Johnson, but then still have Liz Truss, right? So only by the second one, I'm completely empty.
Yeah. So the second one, does that crash your internal economy?
But when I was much younger and I would try to get in shape for a boy I really liked, and I would eat so little, and at that time I didn't have the healthy pattern of going to the toilet. So yeah.
I do feel like the period aspect of it changes something that I don't think the diet and exercise, whatever. I don't know how,
Yeah, but that means that either a medical diagnosis or having a dietitian. Is that what you say?
or
yeah.
or just wait out to your menopause, then you'll be fine.
I wanted to say how do we know, but then realized yes, men have menopause too. So I was thinking,
Men have menopause too.
yeah.
Go on,
Men
man.
in it.
It's men in it. You know what I mean? Like it's menopause. You know what I'm saying?
You know that men is the Latin prefix for monthly.
Okay. Monthly pause.
Oh.
Yeah.
What does pause mean in Latin?
I don't know, but it's like, for example, so like
Is that what the Romans used to do when they watched a film?
no, it's the menstruation, right?
Yeah,
I can't remember the exact word.
Is that
but
why it's called the menstrual cycle?
because it's monthly.
You've learned French. What's the French for monthly? Do you remember?
I didn't
that?
learn enough.
Yeah.
Oh, unfortunately, we broke up
I think menstruel.
before that chapter.
I didn't want to bring that up, just like
No, it's okay.
no, but I want to say that it's just one of the faux amis is a coincidence. It has nothing to do with men, like male, but it's to do
I
with
see.
monthly.
Yeah. I don't know month in French.
Mensuel.
Or maybe I'm wrong though.
Do you want to listen to it?
Maybe in men.
Mensuel.
Mensuel. I was
Mensuel.
right. Yeah, mensuel. But maybe menopause. Maybe it's not in menopause. It's definitely in menstruation. I don't know.
Yeah. That's interesting. Because I see sometimes comedians make jokes like men are the start of everything bad,
Oh, Meg. No, never mind.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say Armageddon.
Armageddon?
Didn't work. It wasn't at the start.
I love that like Lucas and I will say something that makes us laugh and Quan just goes, these fucking idiots.
No, I just zoned out. I'm back.
Zoned
now.
out. No, you zoned out. So yeah, what was her name? Amanda.
Amanda.
Well done saying it after I said it. Great job, Lucas.
What Amanda?
Amanda's the one with the period poops.
Oh, I
It
thought
says
you were
eat fiber and drink water.
Eat fiber, drink water,
Yeah.
Wasn't that what I said?
or go through menopause. Those are our three advices.
yeah.
So you didn't take what I say and you make him Google to came up with what I just told you.
Yeah.
There's a bit of like friendship trust in it.
Quan, I'm just here to have a bit of fun. I'm just here to have a bit of fun, mate. Just have a good time. So, Quan, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Okay. You don't have to sound so scared. Thank you, everybody, for submitting the questions. Amanda, I'll see if Davina has any, like, maybe she knows, like, a pro tip for your period poops. Yeah. Is there anything you wanted to plug at the end?
Yes, I have another podcast.
Yes,
myself.
you do have another podcast. Can I talk about this? Quan has a podcast called Comedy with an Accent.
Yes,
And a show, and he refuses to get me on.
because you're a native English speaker.
Yeah, but you had like 3 native English speakers. Fern Brady is doing your show.
Yeah, but they are British. I'm just trying to be
What? She's on telly? Yeah. Why can't I be on your show, man?
No, but
I have an accent.
okay. For the podcast, it's mostly for non-native English speakers. I'm after the glitch between languages, the actual struggle of using English because it's not that natural to you.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the live show, there's only a very small pool of comedians I can pick from. So for the live show, I make the pool slightly larger.
Surely I could be in that pool, though.
You can, but when I invite you to Edinburgh, it's like, oh, it's so nice you invited me.
Oh, no.
I can't do it. So
Because it was at 11 a.m.
He was asking for many, many times, can I be on your show? Why can't I be on your show? You're discriminating against
Now
me.
I see.
And finally, I asked you if Phil would be on the show. Oh, that's very nice of you to ask, but I can't do it that day.
Well, I couldn't do that day. But I noticed you're doing it at 2 North Down, which is a venue that I would want to perform at. All right, they're coming in.
I'm coming out. Just
All right.
wanna let you go.
Anyway, Quan, I'd love to do the live show. Thank you for inviting me to do that.
Yeah.
Do listen to this podcast, Comedy with an Accent. We're going to have to skedaddle here. Everyone who's listened in, do follow Quan at Kuan-wen Comedy. Sorry, Kuan-wen Comedy.
That's right.
Kuan-wen Huang. And
Was that deliberate or you got my name wrong again?
I sort of am having fun with it.
All right.
I don't know if is that racist?
The shtick is tiring.
Yeah, it is. I was even thinking getting tired of it. I was doing it. Everybody, get involved with the podcast by submitting your questions. We're just going to do the outro thing there. Would you want to be part of it, Philipp and Phriends? Do you want to be part of the? Oh, where is it? Sorry. Do you think is this guy booked in after us? Yeah. Okay, then we got to do this quickly. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. That was Philipp and Phriends, a podcast hosted by Philipp Kostelecky. Our guest today was Kuan-wen. Philipp and Phriends was produced by Lucas Jeffcote, courtesy of Vauxhall Podcast Studios. Theme song and outro music was written by Fred and produced by Georgia Johnson. Get involved with the podcast by subscribing and supporting us on Patreon. All right.
Such amazing, amazing radio voice of yours.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
I mean it.
Yeah. Do you know where I think it would really shine?
Where?
In a podcast. In a podcast about like different accents,
Yeah, whatever.
Okay. Anyway, thank you so much, guys. Ciao.